Well. Clemson Tiger fans, welcome in to the Clemson Postgame Live. Me and Jordan are going to be here to give you our thoughts on the game tonight. And boy, what a game it was. A very long game, but a good game for the Tigers. The good guys get another win in the Valley. It was senior day. It was an awesome environment in the Valley, at least from my TV screen. Super loud, bunch of false start penalties and stuff. So the Valley was definitely rocking. What a game. We're going to get into it here momentarily. But if you are not subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button for us. Help us grow this channel. Hit the like button. It always helps out on the live videos. And thank all of you for being in here already, getting into the comments section. Really appreciate you guys. But without further ado, bring on my co-host, Jordan Bowman. Jordan, how you doing on this fine Saturday, sir?
Pretty good. Now that I can actually, hop on here. I know we scheduled the show for 7:15, and of course the game runs almost 4 hours long.
Yeah.
From the time of kickoff. So I'm exhausted. It was a pretty draining game to watch in a lot of ways, but I'm feeling good, happy to get the win. I mean, we talked about it. Neither one of us thought this would be an easy game for Clemson, and it certainly was not. But they were able to make enough plays in the key moments. They caught some breaks when they needed them, and they win relatively comfortably. So that was good to see, especially the play in the third quarter and into the fourth really kind of created the separation that this team needed. And the defense responded. They were phenomenal all night, and the offense, did enough. And really just the play of the running backs and it was really the difference and allowed Clemson to put up the point total that they did.
Yeah, man. Look, these Clemson Tigers have some fight in them, that's for sure. There is no quit in this team. It was really good to see. I mean, Drake May had probably about as good as a first quarter as a North Carolina fan would want. And then there comes the Clemson Tiger defense, and although they did not shut down this North Carolina offense by any stretch of the imagination, to your point, they made enough plays and they affected Drake May enough, and shut down these wide receivers enough to not allow them to put up a whole lot of points. They still put up quite a bit of yards, but really outside of that first quarter, I mean, this defense really locked in. They really did their job. I mean, they balled out. Nate Wiggins, I mean, just ending the game with that interception. I mean, that's so fitting for that guy. I'm so happy for him, man. He played great tonight. Did he play perfect? No, but I mean, that interception to end the game, that freaking punch out of the ball at the goal line. I mean, that's just, as a fan, you look at stuff like that, and that's just an effort play. Like that dude cares about winning. Like he cares about winning. He cares about this football team, because otherwise he doesn't sprint as hard as he can 50 yards down the field and a last-ditch effort try to punch a ball out, and it worked. So, it's just plays like that you see that you love the fight in this team, man. This season has not gone like Clemson wanted it to, but like I said, man, there's no quit. There's no quit with this Tiger team.
Absolutely. And I mean, and that's kind of the takeaway. I mean, we both predicted I think my score prediction was 35-27. Yours was
35-28.
24. Oh, 24. Okay. So we both thought Clemson could get to 35. They didn't, but they had some opportunities where they probably should have. Yeah. And you could say the same for North Carolina, and they could have had a couple more points as well. So it was a game of missed opportunities for both teams in a lot of ways. Yeah. But Clemson found a way to make enough plays. They won. They did a good job of keeping North Carolina off the field. I mean, they won the time of possession battle 38 and some change to 21 and some change. It was a control, especially in that second half when they weathered the storm of the craziness that was that first quarter.
Yeah.
that they really started to show that they were the better team. So that was that was good to see. And you mentioned Nate Wiggins. I mean, just special player. Like Clemson fans appreciate him while you have him. We only got a couple games more left with him, more than likely.
Yeah.
Just appreciate him while you have him. That's a guy that you don't come across every single cycle.
No.
It just reminds me so much of Mackenzie Alexander, like just like that type of heart and just will at times. Like he got beat early in this game, and just in the way that he responded, and he lost some reps, which he was going up against a really elite receiver in Tez Walker and some really, really talented receivers like other than him. It was a tough ask for this entire secondary, but Wiggins especially responded in a big way, and he definitely gets. If I were to give out a game ball for the defense, it would definitely go to Nate Wiggins. He was on this game.
Yeah, 100%, hands down. I don't think you could give it to anybody else. I mean, the dude absolutely balled out today. He played, as good as you could hope for. I mean, he drew a tough assignment. Tez Walker's a guy, man. That dude's a baller, man. He's a good receiver, and to affect him as much as Nate Wiggins did, I mean, that's all you can ask for. He's not going to shut him down. He's too good of a wide receiver to do that. He's going to get some of his, but he definitely didn't let him have the game that he's capable of having. So you got to love that. Jeremiah Trotter, man, another dude I want to shout out on the defense. What a game for him. I mean, he's really like this. The second half of this season for Jeremiah Trotter, I think, is just, he's showing you who he is as a player and how valuable of an asset he is at linebacker. I mean, that dude is all over the field. He is relentless in the pass rush. He's relentless in his run fits. I mean, he gets it done, man. And it's really fun to watch him fly around the field. And I love the hammer celebration that he does every time he gets a sack.
Yeah, it just it reminds you of his dad, and he looks exactly like him, so it's pretty surreal. I was pretty young when his father was playing football, which probably I'm probably dating you a little bit. I say that,
yeah.
But man, it's like watching him, his father. Like, I mean, I've seen highlights, and I mean, I saw enough of his career that I remember him. But man, he's really, really good. One of the better linebackers that Clemson will have, like, ever. Just that you don't come across a guy with that kind of talent every single year or every single cycle. So yeah, just really proud of this effort. Wasn't like we said, it wasn't pretty, but I thought they did a lot of good things in that second half to weather the storm and pull away and give enough cushion to pull this one out. Obviously, the shenanigans at the end of the game were
oh man, that looked like that was clown level 5,000 right there, man. That was, and it's unfortunate because you know what Dabo Swinney's doing in that situation. He's trying to get those seniors on the field to get one last snap in the Valley as a show of respect to everything that those dudes have done for the program, whether they're key contributors on the field or not. They are key contributors in that locker room and on that team. So, I love that Dabo Swinney does stuff like that to, show respect to those seniors and those guys maybe on scout team that have put in a ton of work that no one will ever see or know about. But it's valuable to the team. And our fans just were not having it. They rushed the field, and then they were getting them off the field, and then they started running back on the field. I was like, what is happening right now? This is the most bizarre thing I think I might have ever seen happen at the end of a football game that was clearly already over. I mean, we were just going through the motions, but, it kind of took away from the moment. So I guess that's a little unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. At that point, I would have just been like, okay, let's just snap it and get it done.
It's like
But
whatever.
I understand why Dabo did it, and it's something he's done, every year. Just maybe not in that fashion. He usually has an opportunity to get his seniors on the field, before the crowd is starting to, matriculate onto the field, and so that was unfortunate. But again, that's minor. We can talk more about we can hit on some of the stuff we didn't like about this game, but I do want to just spend a lot of time just highlighting a lot of the positives. You already talked about Nate Wiggins, but really just the defense in general. They responded again and again and again and again and again. Even after they gave up big plays. We said this team, it was going to happen. North Carolina's offense is too talented. Drake May would be the first overall pick in a lot of other drafts if he wasn't paired with Caleb Williams.
Right.
So we knew it was going to be a tough matchup, and they made everything difficult for them. Even after it was just really even the big play they hit for the touchdown in the first quarter. That was just an elite throw. Khalil Barnes got beat a little bit, but Drake May had the pressure in his face. He's throwing on the run, kind of off his back foot. And that was just a dime. You're just like, okay. And you especially can't hold it against them given the fake punt that happened that put them in that position, which is one of the things. Second straight week we have just a
bizarre punt,
bizarre fake punt in a game where you feel you still have you're still in. I just don't understand why you feel like you need to steal a possession. I get that you're scared of the offense, and I don't want to say scared, but you're wary of how good North Carolina's offense is. But man, at a certain point, you gotta you gotta trust that your defense is going to give you another opportunity to score again.
Yeah,
because that's what they did, and they did that pretty much all night.
Here's the thing for me, specifically about that play and the fake punt. I don't hate the aggressiveness of it. I'm fine with it. Specifically because Clemson's got a defense that's so good. And you expect that they're going to be able to hold those guys to, a field goal at worst, right? They're not going to give up the touchdown. They're going to hold them. You're going to get the ball back, right? So I like that Dabo Swinney has become really aggressive the past couple weeks and is really just kind of, going for the jugular, time and time again. I don't think I've ever seen Dabo Swinney go for so many fourth down conversions up until these past couple games. And I like to see it. I mean, it works, but I hate the play call, right? Why are we doing some weird, obscure, bizarre,
direct snap to Tyler
Davis? He's what are we doing? If you're going to direct snap to anybody, direct snap to one of the freaking running backs, dude.
Right.
Or something like that. Or just line up.
Like they did at the goal line.
Exactly. Just why are we in punt format? Just line up in a regular offense and just call out your offensive line and be like, look, we need a yard. Go get a yard.
Right.
Go get a yard.
It was 4th and 1. It wasn't okay, we need something. It's we can't reasonably. I mean, it might be kind of difficult for our regular offense to get this, but no, it's a yard. I would rather have the ball in the hands of my best playmakers, which is my running backs. And if we can't get a yard on 4th and 1 with Will Shipley and Phil Mafah, then we didn't deserve to get that yard.
Exactly. And then you just live with it. I'm fine if they want to go for it on 4th and 1, at the 40-yard line or wherever we were at that point in time in the game. I'm fine with it. But just don't do a stupid play call like that because you just look ridiculous.
And even if I granted, okay, let's do the fake punt. It's just why to your 300 plus pound defensive tackle? I understand doing that at the goal line, we've done that for years, but you direct snap it to, and he's five. He has to go get 5 yards. I don't understand why.
Yeah,
if you're gonna get him closer to the line of scrimmage, I don't know, but just the design and the personnel usage was honestly the worst part. Like, not even just the fake punt call itself. It's just why Tyler Davis and why in that, and why in that specific play and that kind of play design. Like, you're not. It's a yard. Well, why are you? Yeah. You're going backwards to go forward with a guy that doesn't run the ball. Like, that just doesn't make any sense.
No, it really doesn't. I don't know why we get cute and fancy in those situations. It's so weird, man. You got a 230-pound back in Phil Maffa, dude. Like, just give him the ball, direct snap it to him if that's what you want to do. Do that same play that you did at the goal line, right? Or just line up with Phil Maffa and run a play right up the middle. If you get it, awesome. If not, hey, it is what it is. We can live with it. But it's just the weird fake punts, man. I don't know. I just don't. And you saw what happened, right? You direct snap it to Tyler Davis. What does he go do? He fumbled the ball.
Yep.
Of course he fumbled the ball. He's a defensive tackle. He never has the ball in his hands, literally ever. So his ball security is going to be terrible. And then of course that happens. And no fault to Tyler Davis. I love the dude. I wish he would have got it. I'm sure he was excited to go in for that play, but it's just, to me, it's just not a smart play call. It's not a high percentage thing that you're going to convert on very often, unless you just catch the other team like extremely off guard. But oh well, it worked out in North Carolina's favor. They turned around, they turned that into 7 points. It was looking kind of bleak at that point, and then they turn around and basically score another touchdown. If it wasn't for Nate Wiggins punching the ball out, they were about to go up 14-0 in a hurry in Death Valley in the first quarter. And
that was the biggest play of the game.
It was such and like, you can't overstate the play that Wiggins made because of the momentum swing that it did, right? Yeah. If North Carolina goes up 14 points in Death Valley in the first quarter, this game may have turned out very different than it did when the clock struck 0 tonight. They might have very well blown us out because of how momentum works in a game. It's the same offense and the same defense on the field, right? But those momentum swings are so pivotal, right? The Death Valley would have went silent at a 14-point deficit, right? And then Drake May had just been back there cooking. Our offense was still kind of, hiccuping and sputtering along at that point in time in the game. So, I mean, that play cannot be overstated. I mean, it truly changed the entire trajectory of that game.
Right. I mean, it changes how you call the game too. If you're as an offense, if you're down 14-0, obviously there's still a lot of time left, but I think maybe not so much from Garrett Riley's standpoint, but I think from the players realizing that you're down 14-0, that's when, you start to press. You get guys feel like they have to make a play. Your quarterback feels like he has to make a play. And we know how what happens when Cade Klubnik feels like he has to make a play sometimes.
Yeah, you can best believe an interception's coming. He's going to try to do too much. He's going to go out there and play hero ball, and it's going to end up in points for the other team.
And he did that a couple of times in this game that he was lucky not to be punished for. It just, that was the biggest play. That Nate Wiggins, like, that was just all heart, will. Like, I have no idea how he made that play. Because he was behind the play first of all, and then he was trying to make, and then he was trying to get around, Andrew Makuba, who was also trailing the play. Mm-hmm. I think Nate was getting held, to be honest, by the receiver.
Oh no, he was 100% getting held when the wide receiver ran past him.
Yeah, and so he has to break free, and so he's already at a momentum and speed disadvantage because Amarian Hampton is already at full speed running down the sideline. So he's got to go take off. Like, I don't know how fast exactly Nate Wiggins ran, but I know the Clemson's Twitter page, they tweeted, like, unofficially that he would have ran like a 4.26 in the 40-yard like that was the speed he was moving at. Which I believe Nate Wiggins is one of the fastest players on the team and one of the fastest corners we've ever had. Like, just that he can run with pretty much anybody. But just the way that the distance that he covered, it was basically the same. I mean, he made that same play in the Miami game, but unfortunately Miami was able to recover it because Miami's receivers also made a hustle play to save that game, to save that play. But this time it was kind of like redemption. He got, he covered all that distance, and just the ability, the perfect timing to punch that ball out right before he crosses the goal line and get that ball loose. And then that was just, I mean, it can't be understated. And then it went out of bounds, and obviously you get the touchback, and then you go down and score. Like that,
Yep.
that was a 14-point swing in the game, and that changed everything. Like
it was just so nice for one of those things to finally go Clemson's way too, right?
Yeah.
Like, because I mean, for majority of this season, those 14-point swings have been the other way for us. They've been against us, not for us. So yeah, man, that play was just absolutely just the biggest momentum swing of the game, and definitely changed it. Shout out to Nate, man. That dude's got a motor for day. And I mean, talking about his speed, like his closing speed is ridiculous.
Yeah. I was like, how is he?
I mean,
how is he moving like that?
His ability to have a wide receiver run past him and then him catch up, I mean, it's crazy. That dude's gonna play for a long time on Sundays. I wish him the best. I know we only got 2 more games with him, but I hope we get to see a couple more of his amazing plays before he, heads off to the NFL draft. Speaking of Cade, I do want to give him a little bit of love as well. We talk about how he plays hero ball sometimes and stuff like that, but I shout out to his RPO game and his options games today, man. He made some great decisions on pulling the ball when it needed to be pulled, and really made North Carolina's defense pay for it in some critical situations. I mean, he was really good in the running game today. I think he had up over 50 yards, rushing yards today. I mean, he really used his legs as a weapon today. And those are some decisions in the past this year that he's really gotten wrong a lot of the times. And today he was definitely on it. So shout out to him, man. You can see the growth that Cade is going through. Maybe a little bit slower than we wanted it to be, but you can see the talent there. You can see the growth. You can see that he is getting better from week to week, and that's all you can really ask for from a young quarterback.
At least running the football, I was very, for the most part, like in the option game, the RPO game, I thought he he made a lot better decisions than he has in the past. Now, some of the game like situational awareness, reading the field kind of stuff.
Yeah.
In that, really just that last drive before the first half, like that was, Clemson was very fortunate to get a touchdown there.
So fortunate.
I mean, between the what are you doing, throw it up into coverage interception that was called back by a pretty soft roughing the passer call. Now, I will say, and it's probably going to come up. This was not a banner day for the officiating. Clemson benefited from some pretty sketchy calls at time.
Yeah,
but I think on that play, Clemson has been flagged for that in the past.
Well,
for that same type of like accidental love tap on the quarterback's head, like that's something that the refs have been calling for a lot this year for whatever reason. I hate that rule personally. I hate it. But it's something I've seen flagged before. So while I hate the call, I hate the call itself. I mean, I do want to see consistency.
Yeah, it's the right call according to the rule. Although none of us, I don't think any football fan really loves that rule, right? The fact that you can't breathe on the quarterback's face without getting a penalty. I think it's a little ridiculous. But at the end of the day, it was super beneficial for the Tigers today, right? And, if I was a North Carolina fan, I'd be irritated about the call. But at the end of the day, if the situation was flipped, they would have called it on Clemson too. It's just a call that is going to be made every single time by the officials, regardless of how ridiculous all of us fans think it is. But it bailed us out huge because I don't know what he was thinking. He just drops back on third down and just lofts a ball just inexplicably into double coverage in the end zone when we're in field goal range. We're at the 30-yard line.
Yeah,
just take the 3. Like, it's okay. Just throw the ball away and take the 3 points and we'll We'll walk away. We'll be up 10-7 going into the half. Everything will be good, right?
Well, and even if we don't, because we know how sketchy our field goal kicking situation is, but even if we don't, Cade, that is not your job to worry about. If your field goal kicker misses the kick, that's on him.
Yeah,
like
you
can't worry. You can't worry about that. And it's kind of the same thing. Like it's you should, even if you don't trust your kicker, you have to make the plays and give your kicker a chance. You can't come away with no points there. So that was, Clemson was fortunate. And obviously you scored on a play that I don't think Cade probably shouldn't have scrambled there. It was, that was about as close of a touchdown I think I've ever seen. I don't think, I haven't seen any angle that definitively said that, he didn't make the goal, the line, but like if it was the other way around, and if they had called him short, I don't think you could have overturned it.
No, whatever the call, whatever the call was on the field, it was going to stand because you really couldn't tell. It looked like it might have gotten there. It could have been, a tip of the football short. You can't really tell from the camera angle super clearly. So, whatever was called on the field, they said a touchdown on the field. That was always going to stand just because it was so close and you couldn't really tell. So, luckily, I guess for us, they called it a touchdown on the field, and we got to get those 7 points going into half, and then we immediately go, from that into halftime, come back out halftime. We get the ball first, and we drive right down the field. So, Clemson did a really good job of those middle eight that they always talk about, right? Dabo likes to talk about the middle eight, and they really did a good job today in the middle eight and really maximizing their opportunity there. Although it was by sheer miracle that they got that touchdown to end the half.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with everything after that first half for the most part. Minor stuff. Obviously Clemson gave up some big running plays. I don't like that. That shouldn't happen. Like that's, if I can take giving up explosives to Drake May and the receivers, and I get Omarion Hampton is a talented back, but you have to wrap up and you have to make those tackles. So, the tackling was hit or miss at times in this game, but they made the plays when they had to. So that's a minor gripe, and that's really more with the players and not really the coach. You got to these coaches are you telling them to tackle. It's that's something you just have to be able to, that's fundamentals. That's day one stuff. The arm tackles at times. It was like you're not going to take down a back like Omarion Hampton with arm tackles. And credit to UNC's offensive line. I thought they did a good. UNC's offense didn't have a banner day, but I thought they did a pretty good job of picking up Clemson's pressures at times.
Yeah,
I think Clemson's DBs just held up so well in coverage a lot of this game that they were able to create some coverage sacks and stuff like that. It was a tough matchup. We said this. We thought that Clemson would have issues with this offense, and they did. But they also forced mistakes. Drake May was not his best, and he was errant on a lot of throws. Excuse me. And that was just for the second straight year, you make those plays.
Yeah, man. Look, Cade's the kryptonite to North Carolina. Apparently, he has some of his best football against North Carolina. But today was just, as far as the defensive line goes, they did get pressure on May. But to your point, North Carolina did do a really good job of picking it up. You could see May getting frustrated as the game went on. He started to get a little bit more frustrated. He started to press, started to do some of that hero ball a little bit. They took a lot of shots. North Carolina took a lot of shots today down the field. And they did not connect on very many of them. which is a credit to the DBs, credit to this defense, really affecting those wide receivers in coverage. And there was a couple sacks there that were just, to your point, sheer coverage sacks. Like Drake May held the ball, far too long, and he couldn't really get outside the pocket because it was kind of collapsing in on him. And he got at least probably two of those sacks at least were definitely just covered sacks because the DBs were covering so well and blanketing the field. Good to see Barrett Carter get back on the field today. He played pretty well.
Yeah. I thought there were some times where, he was kind of got caught out of position. But,
Yeah.
he's trying to work his way back. Excuse me. I got a really bad cough today. So
You're good.
I'm trying to survive. But no, it was good to have him back. His presence was greatly missed. And, they made the plays when they needed it.
Yeah, for sure. The Hard Take Gibson says if XT wasn't held every down, he would have 18 sacks. Man, he does seem to get held a lot. Every time I look over at XT, man, he's getting held by the tackles, man. It's really funny to watch, man. It's just he doesn't get the call very often. Every now and then he gets the call, but he does get held quite often. I think just because of his speed and how fast he comes off of that edge, I don't think a lot of tackles have much more of a choice other than to just kind of, grab a little bit of that jersey to slow him down a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. That's oh my God. I am suffering right now. It's like every time I start to talk, like I feel one coming up.
Yeah.
But what else? Other than the oh good Lord. Other than the field goal kicking, well, it was really just one missed field goal, but it ultimately wasn't consequential. But not the special teams, was pretty good. But besides that and the fake punt. But again, Dabo play call on that fake punt. And
I don't think that was the fake
Swanson
punt.
did a good job. You did a great job punting once again. It was a pretty good performance from him. He continues to be just quietly having a really, really strong season.
Yeah, man. He's been super consistent, man. Shout out to Aiden Swanson, dude, because I kind of bagged on him a lot last year. He irritated me quite a bit last year with some of his punting and his inconsistencies and stuff. And he's become really consistent this year. You can count on him. He doesn't have the biggest leg out there. He's not gonna, punt the ball, 60 yards or anything crazy like that. But he does. He is consistent. And he can be a weapon at times and pin some teams deep in their own territory. So glad to see him kind of solidify himself there at the punting role and become really consistent. Field goal kicker for us is just, that's something we're going to have to figure out in the offseason. There's no fix for it right now. Jonathan Weiss is, I think, pretty much doing the best he can to kind of hold that position. He's not a great field goal kicker, obviously. He was, 50% on the day. He hit one, he missed one. Didn't really matter. But I think that's probably part of the reason that Dabo started going for it on fourth down so much is because, we just don't have a kicking game you can reliably trust in. You don't have BT Potter back there that's going to, nail it through the uprights, pretty much every single time, and you can bank on it.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of been some of the reasons that, we're punting a little bit less in games and going for it more on fourth down, just rolling the dice and being like, whatever. If we get it, we get it. If we don't, we don't. And it's definitely changed the attitude and the trajectory of this team. This team definitely plays with a lot more confidence, plays with a lot more attitude. And, it's been a refreshing team to watch over the past, 2 or 3 weeks. It really has. You can tell they turned a corner. You could tell. I don't know what they did. I don't know if they had a come to Jesus meeting. I don't know if Dabo yelled at everybody and threatened to fire. I don't know what they did, but you can clearly see a distinct difference in the Clemson team that lost to Miami and the Clemson team that came out and has pretty much dominated in many facets of the game for the last 3 weeks. They haven't all been easy wins. They haven't always been pretty at every single time or at every point in time, but you can see that this team is definitely playing with a lot more will to win than they were earlier in the season. So
Absolutely.
stuff to build on for next year, right? And that's what you have left of this season, you know.
Yep. We didn't talk about it, but I kind of mentioned it, but I just want to specifically talk about the play of the running backs. Will Shipley, I think he would get the game ball on offense. Explosive runs, that big passing play. That was a great, that was like he played that ball like a receiver. He was able to work back towards it. It was an underthrown ball. And he was able to work back and make a nice diving catch. Like that's just something, that's a part of his game that, Clemson has been able to was able to utilize a good bit today, whether it was in the RPO script, like screen game. And then obviously that shot down the field and it wasn't even really a screen because a lot of those passes were behind the line. So they ended up counting as rushes, but they were essentially, passes. So like, Will Shipley continue for the second straight week. He kind of reminds everybody that, he's pretty good at football. And I know he's gotten a lot of criticism, and he had been getting a lot of criticism before the injury. He just wasn't playing his best football, but I think he's kind of reminded everybody why he had been such an important part of the team the last, since he's been here. So just great play from him. Phil Maffa, he actually led the team in carries today. wasn't nearly as efficient. 23 for 84, but he got that touchdown on the goal line. That was just an effort play, direct snap. He was able to bounce it outside, break a tackle, and find his way to the end zone. That was a big one at that point in the game. And then Shipley again, like just multiple explosive runs. That touchdown was huge on that draw. I believe it was 2nd and 13 on that halfback draw, and he breaks a tackle that probably would have only got maybe 3 or 4 yards, and turns it into a touchdown. Nobody else was there. He made a guy miss. He played like he played like a man possessed. He was other than the fumble, but that's just the identity of this team at this point.
We got to turn the ball we got to turn it over at least once a game, usually multiple times a game. And we obviously came through. We hit that quota, so that's always good for the Tigers. We can hit our turnover quota for the for the game. But yeah, Will Shipley, man, dude, like 18 carries, 126 yards, 7 yard average. He played out of his mind. He caught 2 balls for 53 yards. Just what a stat line, man. What an amazing game for him. Shout out to him. Shout out to Maffa. Our running backs, they're the truth, dude. I don't think we'll have both of them come next season, but,
if they do,
it'd be a good one for us.
JT Brown, thank you for the $10 super chat. He says, good win tonight. Clemson has come from a terrible team to a mediocre team on offense. Hopefully this is a trajectory that continues into next season. Go Tigers. JT. This offense is definitely, while they haven't gotten the turnovers out of their system, they're doing better at finishing drives and putting together drives. I think that's the biggest thing. They're finding ways to get their playmakers the ball. They're not, they're not a team that's going to just hit explosive plays to death. They got a few in this game, but again, you were playing a North Carolina defense that's not particularly good. But they've found some ways to create some offense and finish drives for the most part. Now it's just turnover. You still are good for a red zone turnover or just a what are you doing type of turnover that happens every game. At this point, you can basically bank on it. But I think the biggest thing is they're not letting it affect the rest of the game and how they play the rest of the game, and they go right back at it, and they score points, at least enough points. So, but once again, thank you, JT. Yeah, hopefully we'll see this trajectory continue.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, JT, for the super chat. You're awesome, man. Thank you for supporting the show. It means a lot to us here, man.
But before we continue, I guess I'll take this time. If you are just joining, even if you're not a Clemson fan, please feel free hit the like button for us. It really does help the channel. We welcome all college football fans in here. I see mostly Clemson fans for the most part, but really does help us. Help these live shows. So please consider hitting the like button, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe. And also check the links in the description. Patreon is there. Mark Rogers, if you want to support the Mark Rogers Voice of College Football channel in general, make sure you guys check those out as well. I guess I want to kind of go big picture now because this team has one more regular season game. And we all know what that one is.
Yes, we do, man.
We all know what that one is. I have not checked the score of their game. I don't know what is going. I don't know what's happening in that one right now.
Check it right now.
Well, they're up 10-0 early, so we could be playing the South Carolina Gamecocks next week. While they're looking, with them looking for bowl eligibility. So that'll be something. I guess my question is obviously it's a must-win game. So I'm not you can't lose to them 2 years in a row.
Absolutely not.
How big, if they win this game, how does our opinion of them change? Win this game next week, how does our opinion of this team change?
If we beat South Carolina, or if we lose to South Carolina?
No, if we win.
If we win.
I know they're not particularly good.
Yeah, I think it'd be a huge win for this team. I think there's something to be said about how this team closes this season. And that's really what I'm focused on. We obviously lost those 4 games. The season went kind of sideways, and we had to kind of get right. And we've done that these past 3 weeks. But I'm telling you right now, all the cachet that this team has built up with the fan base, and how happy the fan base is right now, because obviously winning cures all. That will go away very quickly. You would have a very angry fan base if you lose to this South Carolina team. It will not go well, especially 2 years in a row. It just won't go well. And as far as I think this game is so important, even if you just take the rivalry and stuff out of it, just to continue to build momentum heading into the offseason. These players, majority of them, are coming back next year. Specifically, I'm talking about offensive side of the ball, right? They need to see these kind of weeks of success stack up to have that momentum, to have that confidence heading into the bowl game, and then heading into off-season workouts and spring camp and all that kind of stuff, right? I think it's really important, man. And I don't think it can be understated. And then you add the rivalry stuff on top of that. You never want to lose to South Carolina ever. Frankly, I don't want South Carolina to win a game ever again if I had my way. But that's not going to happen. I tell you one thing, it'll be super sweet. If they do pull this game out against Kentucky tonight, it'll be really sweet to roll into Willie B next Saturday, 7:30, and just stomp their throat out the back of their neck and prevent them from going to a bowl game. That would be super sweet.
That would be glorious.
That might make me feel better about the 4 losses that we have this season. Just a little bit.
Yeah, I can't disagree. I can't disagree at all. Still Gamble with the $10 super chat.
Shout out, Still Gamble.
Oh my gosh, StreamYard hates me. Doesn't want to click. There we go. He says this team is coming along nicely now down the stretch. Maybe we were spoiled as fans in the offseason for assuming there wouldn't be a learning curve with this new Riley scheme. Let's beat USC Junior now. Yeah, and to a certain degree, I agree. I mean, I think a learning curve probably could have been expected, but you also lost to some teams that you just flat out should not have.
Right.
This season didn't have to go as poorly as it did in a lot of ways. Like we could be having a different conversation about this team in the record books. But again, you can't go back in time, you can't change it. But
yeah,
you kind of wish that, the learning curve wasn't as big and it didn't take as many just catastrophic and crushing losses for you to start to pick things up.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
At the end of the day, you're seeing this team and you're seeing the talent on this team, and the team is giving you reason to think that the future is still bright.
Right.
And at the end, we've lost 4 games, so really that's all you can ask for is like, give me something to hope for in the 2024 season and beyond.
Yeah.
And it really is this these young guys. This 2023 class, I think this staff hit a home run with this freshman class. Just this is one of the better evaluations from an overall class that Clemson has had in a long time. Just a lot of guys that are making early impacts and are playing well. It's not just that they're playing because they have to, and they're not making plays or they look bad and they look like freshmen. A lot of these guys are playing like they're seasoned veterans, and that's exciting, especially on defense. So that's exciting and gives you a lot of reason to think that things can be a lot different next year. It's all about how Cade progresses. What changes does Dabo decide to make from a program infrastructure standpoint? All of that. But
absolutely, man. Look, it's super encouraging to see where this team is and where they've come from this year. As a Clemson fan, you kind of had to, take a look in the mirror and recalibrate your expectations a bit and kind of, be like, this team is not that anymore. But we're seeing some encouraging signs that they will get back to a team that is in the national conversation and back in the playoffs and competing for national championships, because obviously, ultimately, that's the goal. That's what we want. And that's what we should want. One of the big things for me is I love that we're building momentum and it's much more relaxed and exciting around the Clemson program right now, from the fans and the players and the coaches and everything. Winning cures all, right? But make no mistake about it. The issues with this team are not gone. They didn't go away. They're not suddenly solved. We still have issues to address this offseason. The offensive line is still completely inconsistent and up and down and all over the place, and basically a big room of musical chairs. You never know who's going to show up on any given Saturday for the offensive line. So there's still issues there. But again, we can take the steps that this team has begun to build one on another, and be excited about the offseason and what's to come, because you see the youth on this team and you see how good some of the youth is. So the future is bright for this Tiger team. They just got a few things to tie up, a few things to fix, but they'll be okay. They'll be just fine.
Absolutely. Big John, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, y'all stop and say a prayer for Jordan Travis, carted off leg injury with air cast. Go Tiger. Yeah, I did see that, Big John. It was pretty brutal. I don't know if I don't know what the score of that game is now, but they were down by 10 points. Florida State was when I last looked to North Alabama.
Oh no.
But yeah, it was pretty gruesome. Like I would be surprised if he's back this year. It was one of those, like his ankle was pointing the other direction.
Oh boy.
So yeah, so that's you hate to see that.
Yes.
Anytime, whether it's a rival program or not, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, one of the best quarterbacks, and one of the most dynamic players in college football. And he was having a really he was having a kind of his break. I mean, really his breakout year was last year, but he was having a really, really strong season this year, and you just hate that for him. And that's big for Florida State because they've already locked up an ACC championship berth, but now playing without their starting quarterback, and they're trying to make the playoff. They're still
they got their their biggest games in front of them. I mean, they got the ACC championship game. They got a playoff berth most likely that they would have had. I don't know what their backup situation looks like. It's obviously not going to be anything close to a Jordan Travis, but man, that's tough to hear, man. I hate when when you see players get hurt, man. It's so unfortunate because they don't play for Clemson, but at the end of the day, these kids pour everything into their craft and becoming really elite college football players. And Jordan Travis is a guy that has an NFL future ahead of him, and you just hopefully it's nothing too serious. Hopefully they can get it fixed and he can continue his football career. But
and really at the exact same time, JT sent a $5 chat asking about Jordan Travis. Did you see what happened to Jordan Travis tonight? So yeah, it really is. It really is sad, and it was just on a freak play. That's just that's unfortunate. You hate to see that.
Yeah, man,
so
that's tough.
I did check the score. Florida State did rally back. They're up 24-13 at the half.
There you go.
So it looks like they'll be able to take care of business, most likely. But it's North Alabama, so they still have they still have Florida next week, and then the ACC championship game. Like that's Florida's not a fantastic team, but when you're missing your starting quarterback and it's a rivalry game, that's
that could change the dynamic of it. And then you play Louisville in the ACC championship game. Louisville's not a slouch team, man. They can come up and beat you for sure. So hopefully they get it figured out. Time for the backup to shine. Hopefully they can keep the momentum moving this season. But that's unfortunate. I hate that.
Absolutely. It's Tate Rodemaker is their backup. So he's still.
Is he a freshman or is he?
No, he's been there a while.
Just kind of a career backup there.
I don't know if you remember that game. I think it was a couple of years ago where Florida State went down big to Louisville, and Tate Rodemaker came in and led that. He's been in that program a long time.
Okay,
I think he's got to be at least a junior.
That's probably a best case scenario to have an older guy like that knows the system, knows the offense. He's not a young guy that's going to get rattled or anything like that. That's if you're looking for glass half full best case scenario, at least he's a guy that's been in the program 2-3 years.
I mean, and they got some talented. AJ Duffy, I think, is their third string. He was a 4-star kid, and then they have a true freshman, Brock Glenn, who a lot of people were high on, and Ohio State was. I think he was committed to Ohio State at one point. So, it's really unfortunate for them, but Mike Norvell is a really great play caller, offensive guy. And I think they still have lots of weapons. Like as far as a backup quarterback situation goes, Florida State is, they have the best you could give to a backup quarterback given the circumstances as far as receivers, running backs.
Yeah, it's a pretty good offense to fall in on if you're a backup quarterback.
Right.
There's a lot of guys that could take a lot of pressure off of you.
100%. All right, let's say we kick it to the comment section for a little bit before we get on out of here.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's see what the people are talking about.
Let's see. StreamYard is being difficult again.
As it does.
John says if Clemson has a really good 2024 offense, Riley probably gets some serious looks for 2025. Yeah, it would shock me a little bit if Garrett Riley were to get a head coaching job. Or I think he'll get offers, but one that he would reasonably take.
Yeah,
I'd be surprised. If this season had gone a little bit different, maybe, but I don't know. I think Garrett Riley is. I think that's kind of a conversation that he and Dabo have had about maybe like.
I'm sure
how long he intends to stay here.
Yeah, I'm sure Dabo had the conversation with him before he offered Riley the position. And we don't know what Riley's timeline is. We assume he wants to be a head coach as soon as possible, but we don't know that for sure. I don't know what his timeline is. He's a pretty young guy. He's got plenty of time, so I don't really know. And then what kind of job is he looking for? Is he just looking for, kind of the first, college that gives him a head coaching opportunity, or is he looking for, a little bit of a bigger job, more, a better job? I don't know. That'll probably factor into all of it.
Let me see. Kamar gets in. He says, "I'm genuinely surprised we made Drake May look human." Well, I mean, kind of did it the year before in a lot of ways. I mean, he made plays. The game. I think North Carolina's offense, for the most part, had a similar type of performance that they did last year. They got more yards, and I think the difference was they were a little bit. They got touchdowns, and they didn't turn the ball over, and really. Drake May didn't turn the ball over until the end.
Right.
So, that's just something we knew was going to happen. But Clemson's defense did a good job of kind of making the stuff, the easy access stuff that North Carolina was trying to do. They made it a lot more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And so that kind of limited the explosive plays, and they really only hit a couple. So that was kind of the difference. And Drake May, he was, while Clemson wasn't getting a ton of sacks off of straight pressure, but they were still, making him uncomfortable. They were batting balls at the line. The defensive line was. They were making things a lot more difficult for him in the pocket. And to his credit, he, even when Clemson should have gotten home, he made some plays. With his legs. He burned Clemson a few times in this game. With scrambles and just getting first downs with his legs. That's something we knew he was able to do. But you'd rather him do that than have him just bombing away on you in the passing game. And so they did a good job of forcing him to take what was there instead of hitting the big play. And they were good enough at even stopping some of the stuff that was there.
Yeah, this Clemson defense is the truth, man. They're the real deal. They make a lot of really good players look human. So, really, I think it's attributed to the offense a little bit too, because you see, how much more energized the defense can play when they're getting a little bit of help from the offense. Just that little bit of boost, a little bit of momentum. You can see they can really step their game up. As you saw them do today. They weathered that first quarter storm, and then they got to work.
John also asked, why does he Banks Pope on the field more than I think I saw Sapp? Might be wrong on that. Yeah, I'd have to see the snap counts. I did see Banks Pope in there a little bit. I think Sapp did get banged up on that throw over the middle. That was incomplete. He took a shot on that one.
He took a shot to the ribs or the abdomen or something.
Yeah, and honestly, that brings me to something I wanted to mention. About Cade. Man, does he set his receivers up sometimes?
He's
Troy
he's
Stellato was I don't know how Troy Stellato is alive. It seemed like every throw, every catch he got he was having to go up and get it with a defensive back bearing down on him and ready to lay the wood on his back,
yeah.
the ball placement. You got to give your receivers a little bit more help there. But credit to the receivers for mostly making those catches because those were tough.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he lays his wide receivers. He hangs them out to dry far too often, man.
Yeah.
That shot that Sapp took, it was unnecessary, man. That was a bad ball. You can't let you got to see that safety coming down, ready to lay the wood on your guy, and kind of help him out a little bit there.
100%. Steel Gamble says, "Did anyone see New Mexico? Boat race. Auburn. Yeah, New Mexico State. Yeah, they beat Auburn. I was pretty bewildered by that.
It must be tough to be an Auburn fan today, dude. That's rough.
Yeah, but I don't really feel bad for them. They've been trying to poach some of Clemson's recruits. I'm sure you got one in particular. So thought that was pretty funny, in a way. And I don't really. Yeah, you're never going to see me feel sorry for Hugh Freeze.
No, absolutely not. No. No, that dude is yeah. He deserves to get beat, but like that from New Mexico State.
Michael says, first of all, prayers go out to Jordan Travis. Yeah, absolutely, too. I've been really impressed with the play of Clemson's offensive line over the last few weeks. Yeah, I mean, I thought, it was spotty at times today. I thought they really settled in that second half. It's just, again, it's another case where, you're rotating guys in and out, and, the guys that were making plays for you last week aren't necessarily the guys making plays for you this week.
Yeah.
I will say this. I think Tristan Lay has been really, really good these last few weeks. And I was kind of iffy on the idea of him, being a true tackle. But I thought he's made a lot of strides. He's made a lot of strides these last couple of weeks. So I think you're seeing some progression in some guys. Let's see. Big Mick says Clemson roster is more talented than UNC. They played up to their talent on defense, still waiting on this offense to wake up.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're absolutely right on defensively. I can't really look at UNC's offense and say they're less talented than or Clemson's offense and say they're less they're straight up more talented. But there were moments where they could have played a lot better, but they ran for how many yards in this game? 200.
You talking about North Carolina?
No, Clemson. I'm on the
Clemson. I got you. Hold on one second. We ran for 247 yards.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty good. And that's I think given some of the limitations you've had at receiver with the injuries, Troy Stellato went out during this game. Bo Collins played early. Didn't see him. I didn't even mention that. Bo Collins, he
didn't get a single target.
Yeah,
he didn't get a single target.
I don't think he was in the game. I don't remember seeing him in the game at all.
I don't think he got a. I mean, he'll be interested. I'll check it when the snap breakdown comes out. But I don't know that he played. Which if he didn't get a snap,
I know he played. I saw him in the first quarter. I think he might have gotten hurt or something because he did not. I did not see. I don't remember seeing him much if at all, in that second half. So But yeah, we'll have to go and look at the snap count. So I mean, you're already down to Antonio Williams. and Cole Turner, guys you thought you were going to be counting on this year. And then, of course, I already mentioned Troy Stellato going to, and Bo Collins not playing.
Man,
So I think they may do. And I thought you saw some guys make plays. I mean, Adam Randall, he led the team in yards. He only had 2 catches, but they were both for big plays. And that's something we've been waiting to see pretty much all year. So, I mean, that was exciting. Seeing him get those opportunities, and he probably could have had another one. He had a really nice double move, but he wasn't able to quite make that play.
He should have caught that ball.
Yeah, it would have been a tough play, but
it wasn't a good throw, but he should have caught that ball. He could
those are the plays that he was brought here to make.
Yeah, that's why you got Adam Randall out there, because
so
we expect you to come down with that ball.
But I think you're starting to see him build some confidence, and I think that's something this team desperately needs, because we've been waiting. And for me, I mean, speaking for myself, I was just kind of like, well, if the light bulb comes on, then that's great, but otherwise I'm not really expecting it. But I think you're starting to see him get a little bit more confidence, and he made some really nice plays. The 2 catches he made today were really, really nice.
Yeah, and Troy Stellato, man, that dude is tough, man.
Yeah,
that is a tough dude, man. He does not go down easy, and even when he gets banged up, I mean, he always comes back in the game. He's a tough dude, man. Definitely had a pretty good day today. 6 receptions for 50 yards, so pretty good day for him.
Absolutely. Taco Gaming is here. I haven't seen you in a while, buddy. He says, hey, able to catch one of these, the first one this season. What's up, boys? Good to see you, man. Welcome. I know
thanks for stopping in, man. We appreciate you.
We've seen you more on the Thursday show, but I didn't realize. Yeah, this is your first post game live in this season. Welcome. Glad to have you. Okay. John says, shout out to the Clemson crowd too. Yeah, a lot of false starts. Yeah, absolutely. And you could tell the North Carolina offense was really was rattled at times, and especially in that second half, it really helped out and put them in some really, really tough situations when they were trying to get back into the game.
Yeah, especially down the stretch in that fourth quarter, you could tell that noise was affecting them. They were struggling. They were super uncomfortable in that environment. A day game turned night game in the Valley. Thanks to daylight savings.
Tiggs gets in. He says, so just how did the Tar Heels get away with all those free timeouts with the flopping they did? I don't like to speculate on fake injuries and stuff like that, because it doesn't feel right, just because sometimes you don't really know. But there were a lot of stoppages in this game because of that, and so it makes you wonder. And at some pretty that was convenient, but. At the end of the day, it's nothing. It's part of the game. Even if they were in fact faking injuries, that's something. They're not the first team to do it. They won't be the last. That's strategy. Just something you have to figure out. But again, that I'm not necessarily saying they were, but if they were, that's something that you have to deal with. It can be annoying, but
you can't do anything.
They're allowed to do it too. So it's not like they're being given an unfair advantage. It's same thing with, legally stealing signs. It's like, if you don't want to do it, your opponent is doing it. So, within the rules, it's something you can use it. So, I don't blame teams for taking advantage of that. Steel Gamble with the $2 super chat. Thank you, man. Been a really good supporter of the show. He says, can't wait for the Jackpot Rage Fest next week. Yeah, that's going to be something. I'm a huge Carolina Jackpot supporter, subscriber. Been a sub of his for a long time. So make sure you guys check him out. Good dude. Lots of fun to watch and give a hard time. But he really is a good one of my favorite, probably my favorite Gamecock content creator.
Yeah,
So
he's entertaining, man. He gives you his real raw emotions. He doesn't
absolutely.
hold back. He doesn't pretend to be something that he's not. So it's cool to watch Jackpot. He's a funny dude. I like that he just gives you the raw emotion. That he goes the ebbs and flows of the game that he goes through emotionally are must see YouTube. So shout out to Jackpot. But I like Jackpot a lot, but I hope he's miserable next week. I hope he's miserable for those 3 hours.
Absolutely. Big Load in the building. Good to see you. He says, hit the like button. Yes. Thank you,
Yes.
Big Load.
Everybody hit that like button. Help us out. Help us grow the channel. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Me and Jordan do a weekly show every Thursday at 7 p.m. along with these post-game live reaction videos that we do after each game. So come join us. It's a show. It's a year-round show. So, when the bowl game's over and the dust settles and, you're a college football degenerate like the rest of us and you're fiending for college football, just come hang out with me and Jordan every Thursday at 7 p.m. We do this show year-round. Through the season, through the off season, doesn't matter. We're here every week talking about something to do with Clemson football. Some weeks are heavier news weeks than others, but we always find something to talk about. Don't worry, we'll have something for you.
Absolutely. Anything else on that you want to hit on before we close this out?
No, I don't think so. I just want to shout out all the people in here right now. Now we got 53 people in here. We had like 70 or 80 earlier in the stream. Just thank you guys. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for coming to hang out with us. It truly is appreciated. Me and Jordan really like to come on here and talk about Clemson football, obviously, but it wouldn't be the same if we didn't have people in here interacting with our show. You guys definitely make it better. Shout out to all the super chats, JT Brown, Steele Gamble, Big John, JT Brown again, and then Steele Gamble again. So thank you guys so much for supporting the show like you do. It is greatly appreciated. I see Tiggs get in here and say we need to team up with Morgan T. We will eventually.
Yeah. That collab is coming.
It's coming. We're working it. We're working it. It's coming eventually. Don't you guys worry. We'll get there. But next week, man, Jordan, next week is going to be crazy. It's rivalry week.
Yeah.
It's Thanksgiving week. It's hate week, if you will. And we are going to do a show this coming week. We don't know exactly what day it'll be yet. It obviously is not going to be on Thursday. Me and Jordan are not going to do a show on Thanksgiving, for obvious reasons, because we have stuff going on. But we will carve out time next week. It may be earlier in the week next week. We'll carve out some time. Just stay tuned to the community page. We'll post something over there, kind of giving you guys a warno, letting you know when we're going to do it. And I hope you guys pop in and hang out with us for Gamecock week, hate week, rivalry week.
Yep.
Whatever you want to call it. It's going to be a really fun show. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait. I don't know about you, Jordan.
Oh, I've been waiting. I've been waiting for this game for. let me see. Let me do the math.
How many days has it been now? Yeah.
358 days in counting.
Yeah, 358 days of misery.
That math doesn't exactly work out because the game isn't the exact same day. But you get what I'm saying. I've been waiting, a week less than a year.
Yeah. We're approaching a year of just pure misery. So let's keep let's keep that energy next week. We'll come with a bunch of energy of our own. Bring your Gamecocks in here. Bring your chicken fans in here. We could chop it up. We could do a bunch of trash talk. It'll be a good time. Stay tuned to figure out when that show is going to be. Somebody Tig says Black Friday, perhaps. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Stay tuned to the community page. But until next time, I'm Tiger Paul Craven. He's Jordan Bowman. Go Tigers.
Later, y'all.